Will the keeper of the flame please bring forward the Christ candle? Namaste.
Good morning, beloved of God. Right where you are at this moment, the light of Spirit shines through you. Infinitely loved by God, you are the light of the world. I am Donna, and I welcome you to Unity Spiritual Center of Waco this morning. Please turn off your cell phones or silence them. Please stand as you're able and join us in our congregational singing.
God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings, God gives me everything I need. Love is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. God gives me thanks, for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God is my source, God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. Love is my source, love is my power. Love gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Love gives me everything I need. Joy is my source, joy is my power. Joy gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Joy gives me everything I need. Peace is my source, peace is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Joy gives me everything I need. God is my source, God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God is my source, God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God is my source, God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God is my source, God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need.
Let us say together our statement of truth, which is on the screen. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, God the good, omnipotent. We are a beacon of love and light for those who need this spiritual home right now. Let us say together our vision, mission, and core value for today. Our vision: to awaken an awareness of spirit in our lives through modern application of ancient wisdom. Our mission: raise consciousness, transform lives, Heal the planet, one person at a time, beginning with me. And our core value today is inclusivity. We embrace each person as a unique expression of spirit. And Penny, would you like to come up and do the daily word for us?
The daily word for today, October 23rd, is prosperity. No matter how much I have in the bank, the kind of car I drive, or the house I live in, I know these things are mere manifestations of abundance. The source of all prosperity is God. I look beyond appearances to find a deeper meaning of prosperity. Meaningful work that I enjoy doing is part of my prosperity, not only because of what I earn, but also because of the satisfaction I feel when I use my skills. My house becomes a home when it's filled with people I love and care for. My financial resources don't diminish but multiply when I share them generously. As I look beyond the good things in my life to the love, the creative insight, and the limitless flow of the divine ideas that brought them to manifestation, I discover true abundance. And from Proverbs 8:18, riches and honors are with me, enduring wealth and prosperity. And our affirmation for today, which I'll say and then we'll say together, with God as my source, I live abundantly. With God as my source, I live abundantly.
Thank you, Lucinda and Donna and Penny, for starting our service. And this is the time when we have an opportunity to stand up and greet one another with a handshake or a hug. If you're not comfortable with a hug, just reach your hand out and nobody will hug you. Or you can hit them if they do, not really. And we want to say a special hello to the people who are joining us on live stream this morning. We love you, we bless you, and we behold the Christ in you. So shall we greet one another? Since you are already seated, you may stay seated for our next congregational song.
Let
Thank you, Lucinda. Good morning again. I'm Reverend Margaret Ford, and I welcome each of you to Unity Spiritual Center today. Together we affirm and celebrate our unity, our oneness with each other, our oneness in all that is, and our oneness in God. Your presence is essential. For each of us is a unique aspect of Unity Spiritual Center of Waco today, right here and right now. And we know that no one is here by accident or coincidence. Unity is a New Thought denomination, and yet, as we know, New Thought is nothing new to the world. It is in reality a synthesis of the greatest concepts from the minds and spirits of humankind across the ages. The laws of Moses, the love of Christ, the ethics of Buddha, the morals of Confucius, the 5 pillars of Islam, and the deep spiritual realization of the Hindus all find an exalted place in the philosophy of unity. In unity, we believe that all people are created with sacred worth, regardless of culture, ethnicity, sexual orientation, or creed. And we know that neither God nor unity leave anyone out. So let us join together now in prayer. Eternal presence, spirit of life, love, beauty, and joy. As we gather here together this morning, we come with open hearts. We come with joy and gratitude. Gratitude for all that is. How wonderful it is to know that each of us is an expression of your divine presence, remembering that it is in you that we live and move and have our being. We become aware of the beginning of the change of the seasons, the cooling of the weather, the leaves begin to drop. And yet we know the one changeless thing is your presence in all and through all, an expression of each of us as spiritual beings having a human expression. We are so grateful for that understanding of your presence within. As we join here this morning, we remember particularly those people in our congregation who are experiencing any health challenges. We hold them up into the light, knowing that your healing power within them is at work in myriad ways. We also hold in our hearts all others who have asked for prayer, who are experiencing violence, who are experiencing war, or anything that is conflicting in their lives. And again, we hold them up to you in the light, knowing that they are filled with healing and health, prosperity, comfort, and support. And we give thanks for answered prayer that is unfolding right here and right now. We also allow ourselves to envision with great passion, with great commitment, the leaders of our country and all countries of the world being inspired by your divine presence within them to come together in a spirit of cooperation, of harmony, so that there may be peace across our entire planet. For we know that your will for us is our highest good, not only for us who are here this morning, but for every person in the entire universe. And we give thanks. We remember that it is written when the disciples asked Jesus, Lord, how should we pray? That Jesus said, pray like this. And together we say the Lord's Prayer as translated from the Aramaic, which is on the screen. Infinite presence, which is everywhere. Your name is sacred. Your kingdom is come. Your will is throughout the earth, even as it is throughout the universe. You give us our needful bread from day to day, and you forgive our offenses, even as we forgive our offenders. You let us not enter into materialism, but you separate us from error, because yours are the kingdom and the power and the song and the praise from all ages, throughout all ages, sealed in faith, trust, and truth. Each of us is the light and love of God, spiritual beings having a human experience. You are God's beloved, and we embrace you today. And speaking of love and embrace, this is a time in our service when we typically bless the children, and we do have a lovely child with us this morning whose name is Kason, right? Is your name Kason? Okay. Now, a lot of times we ask the kids to come up so that we can bless them, but if you don't want to come up, we'll be happy to bless you right where you are. What would you like to do? You want to stay there, or you want to come up to the front? Well, come on up if you want to. No, okay. All right. Well, so we're going to bless Kason and all of the other children from our congregation and the children of the world. So we're going to rub our hands together with nice warm energy, and we're going to say, Kason and children of the world, we love you, we bless you, we appreciate you just the way you are. So let's give Kason a hand.
Do that. Oh, I can't do it. So today, of course, we just saw that the title was Decisions. And I go through that every single week. And this week I thought, I know what song I'm going to sing. And I learned it, made sure I had it down. And then last night about 10 o'clock, I was getting into bed and I thought, there's an even better one. So I learned it, but I am going to put the lyrics right here, just in case. I'm just going to peep over there if I forget it. But it's a great song, you guys, so I had to do it. Okay, anytime, maestro, hit it. There it is. It's coming in a little funky. There it is. Okay. Whenever I have hurt in my heart, I ask, what would love do? Whenever I don't know where to turn, I ask, what would love do? Whenever I don't know what to say, I ask, what would love do? What would love do? Anytime that I'm stuck in my pain, I ask, what would love do? Anytime that I feel ashamed, I ask, what would love do? Anytime that I can't find my truth, I ask, what would love do? What would love do? Love has all the answers. Love makes no demands. Love will lead me to the truth and help me to understand that life is all about love. When I have something hard I need to say, I ask, what would love do? When it seems another block is in my way, I ask, what would love do? When it seems I can't face another day, I ask, what would love do? What would love do? What would love do? Love has all the answers. Love makes no no demands. Love will lead me to the truth and help me to understand that life is all about love. In any situation, I ask, what would love do? When I'm feeling limitations, I have to ask, what would love do? I've got to look into my soul and ask, what would love do? What would love do? What would love do? What would love do? Got to look into my heart, look into my soul. What would love do? 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 What would love do?
Thank you, Lucinda. You made a good decision. Well, as Lucinda mentioned, and possibly as you saw the screen when you came in, today's message is entitled Decisions, Decisions. So I thought we'd have a little fun to start this morning in talking about making decisions, something we do every day, perhaps moment to moment. You decided to be here this morning, and you had to decide what to put on, what to have for breakfast, what time to leave the house, and so forth. You make dozens of decisions every day, every morning, every afternoon, sometimes without even realizing it. So as I said in my email message to you that goes out every Thursday, some decisions are very easy, but not all decisions are simple. Many times we are called to make decisions that involve complex situations, including decisions we'd rather not have to make at all. Or sometimes we may have to choose between two equally appealing choices. How then do we make those decisions, the simple and the complex? How do we know any decision we make is the right one? Well, let's start out by looking at some ways that psychologists categorize the decision-making process when talking about the subject of motivation. I have some fun slides that will give us an idea of the various ways to look at how people make decisions. So the first slide we have shows what's known as an approach conflict. That's a situation in which you are in a position to choose between two seemingly equal options, but you have to choose only one. On the slide, we see two pretty jazzy-looking cars. Which one should you buy? How will you decide? Or what if you won a contest and the prize was an extended vacation in either Europe or Asia? For some folks, it might be an easy decision, yet others might agonize over which one to choose since both of them seem so appealing. We can think of lots of examples of approach conflicts in our everyday lives. Going to a restaurant where everything looks wonderful on the menu, but we obviously can only choose one. Well, our next slide shows another type of decision-making situation that is called approach avoidance conflict. Here we see represented a gorgeous diamond and emerald necklace. Perhaps not much of a temptation for most of you guys, but the desire to own the necklace also means forking over quite a large sum of money. So a person might want the necklace, but not want all the payments that it would entail. Another example of approach avoidance conflict might be what I experienced several years ago. I was embarrassed because I still had a flip phone. And if I had to go to the airport and let my daughter know I made it, I'd have to kind of turn around and make sure nobody was looking while I was using my flip phone. And I really wanted to get a smartphone, but I thought, oh my God, there's so much to learn on there. All these different things. I mean, just even to make a phone call or to answer the phone, for Pete's sake. Well, obviously, I do have a smartphone now, but anyway, it was a real approach avoidance conflict because I wanted it and yet I didn't want to have to do all the learning that went with it. And what about wanting a big hot fudge sundae, but not wanting to run the chance of gaining back the weight that we just lost? So approach avoidance conflicts occur when a particular choice has both positive and negative effects, or characteristics that make it both appealing and unappealing at the same time. And our last slide about this depicts what we call an avoidance conflict. I love the example illustrated on this sign. The guy clearly has a toothache, which he doesn't want, yet he really doesn't want to go to the dentist to get it taken care of either. I love that picture of the dentist, by the way. Another example of an avoidance conflict might be a situation in which a student doesn't want to go to class, but also doesn't want to fail the course. Or not feeling like changing clothes to go out for dinner, but also not wanting to have to stay home and cook. I can identify with that. For each of these types of conflicts, I believe we can think of myriad examples, and some of them would even be situations in which we have found ourselves. Now the question is, in each of these, how do we finally make a decision, a choice between two equally appealing alternatives, between two equally unappealing alternatives, or decide between the appealing and unappealing aspect of an option? Well, sometimes we'll ask our spouse or partner or friend to weigh in on the decision. Which one of these shoes do you think is more attractive? Or we'll engage in self-talk. Let's see, do I really want that new furniture badly enough to make all those hefty monthly payments? Finally, the person will find some aspect of one or more options to weighs just a bit more than the others, wanting the furniture or not wanting to shell out the extra money each month. That will speak more loudly to them, and that's the choice, the decision they will ultimately make. Or they may have learned a song and then in the middle of the night say, I think there's a better song, and do that one instead. Some aspect of that. And the same goes for avoidance. Some aspect of the situation will finally seem more onerous than the other, and even though they still don't want to make that decision, they will make it. The guy probably will wind up going to the dentist. Well, as I said, we'll start out with a little fun this morning, and I think looking at how we make decisions about some of the situations in our life is kind of fun, especially when those things we considered really aren't very troublesome or emotionally painful. Yet there are many decisions in our lives that we are forced to make, decisions that we don't want to have to make or to consider in the first place. Sometimes those decisions involve us directly, and sometimes they involve or affect people we love. Recently, I read about a situation in which a couple's son was addicted to drugs. And they knew when he asked them for money that he was no doubt going to use it to purchase drugs. On one hand, they didn't want to contribute to his drug habit and or worry that an overdose could kill him. But on the other hand, they knew that if they didn't give him the money, he would again resort to stealing money and or stealing drugs to get the money. He could be arrested, jailed, or even worse, he could be shot by the police in the process of stealing money or selling drugs. Think about what you might do if you were in that situation. Obviously, that's an avoidance conflict, with neither choice being a good one. In 2010, my husband Ed was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. He had the choice to allow the cancer to spread to the point where it could affect his brain and or possibly paralyze him, or he could choose chemotherapy, which would seriously compromise his quality of life for the remaining months of his life. And the chemotherapy itself could kill him. I'm still not sure he made the best choice. There was no good choice. Many folks find themselves in the position of being physically and emotionally overwrought by being the caregiver for a loved one at home. And yet the idea of placing them in a nursing home is more painful than we can imagine. Here again, there are few good choices, and each one comes with heart-wrenching consequences. Yet not all of the choices we have to make are painful ones, though they may involve anxiety and uncertainty about what to do. For example, suppose one is offered what appears to be a really terrific job with good benefits and is even closer to home. But it also entails learning some new skills and leaving a comfortable position after several years of successful upward mobility. Each one of these options has its pluses and each has its drawbacks. What to do? What to do? I'm guessing if each of us thought about our own lives, we'd see that there have been situations in which we've had to make difficult choices about what to do in various circumstances. And again, some of those decisions were relatively uncomplicated ones, while others required more soul searching. Soul searching. There's an idea. In an excerpt from his book, The Complete Soul, Unity Minister Doug Bodorf says this: "We all have moments of uncertainty, of not knowing if we are making the right choices. It is easy, reading the tea leaves of circumstances, to jump to action that, in the end, does not work out well. This is usually because we are acting from the promptings of self-image, rather than basing our decisions on what we are learning is true of our soul. The process of soul searching, then, is one of considering whether our thinking arises from the strength of our soul or if we are searching for the best way to protect some weakness of our self-image." Often we try to make complicated choices by asking friends or loved ones, as I mentioned before. Or, again, we do a lot of self-talk, mulling our options over and over in our mind, each time making very little progress toward a satisfactory answer. But how about the idea of turning our challenges over to God? Not that we think God is out there with a ready-made answer to drop into our lap. once we ask. But if we remember that as spiritual beings having a human experience, the presence of God is our very essence, we therefore have within us all the resources that we need to solve the dilemma of which choice to make. We remember that it is written in Matthew chapter 7, verse 7, "Ask and you will receive, seek and you will find, knock and the door will be opened for you." So when we ask for guidance, seek it from the presence of God, we will find the door is opened to the answer that we need. Sometimes we get confused because we're also told that God knows our need even before we ask. So why do we need to ask in the first place? Well, the asking is not for God's benefit or to get a reluctant God to look with pity on us and help us out. Rather, asking is for our benefit. Asking allows us to clarify what it is we need in order to receive the guidance we seek from within. We must turn within and then listen for the still small voice. Now, I'm not telling you that every time you have a situation that needs a solution, that if you sit in meditation, the answer will come to you in those moments. Well, it sometimes does. More often what happens is, as a result of opening ourselves to divine inspiration, we will experience clear guidance, perhaps in some unexpected way. I remember the story that Edwene Gaines told. Edwene was a Unity minister and author. You've probably heard of Edwene, right? And she tells about her uncertainty about moving from where she currently lived and ministered to answer a request from another ministry that had been offered to her, but it also had a pretty meager salary. Her comment to a friend was, "Well, if God wants me to do this, he better give me a sign." And as she and her friend were driving to Tennessee, her friend asked, "What kind of a sign do you want?" Edwene says, "God spoke to Moses through a burning bush. I want a burning bush." Shortly, they saw a sign that said, "Burning brush not permitted." "Not good enough," Gaines said. After a little while, as they continued to drive, they saw a sign, "Burning Bush Restaurant, Knoxville, Tennessee." She and her friend were stunned, but Gaines was quite sure this was indeed a sign that she was to accept the position in the new church. Oh, by the way, the church was in Knoxville, Tennessee, and that day they ate at the Burning Bush Restaurant. So that's a great story, and I'm guessing each of us has had times in our lives when we receive strange and or unexpected signs in answer to a concern we had about a decision we needed to make. Sometimes it is that still small voice, perhaps in the form of an intuitive knowing. If you were asked, "How do you know?" we probably would say, "I just knew. I just knew." That intuition is the divine wisdom that resides within us and is always active. We may just need to pay closer attention. And in the case of Edwene Gaines, we may receive a sign in the most unlikely or unexpected way, but we know. So each and every day, each of us is faced with choices, decisions to be made. And fortunately, many, if not most, are just simple decisions, like what to order from the menu or what to wear based on the weather that day. We don't need much guidance in those situations, although we may get a little prodding from our spouse or parent. There was a comic in today's newspaper where this mother's telling the girl that she needs to wear a coat because it's really cold outside. And the girl, I don't want to. And she wouldn't put on the coat. And so they go outside and then her teeth start chattering. So mom has to take her coat off and put it. Anyway, parent or spouse may be giving us some information that we may or may not decide to take. But for the big situations where we have serious choices to make, it's then that we turn within to receive the guidance from God's presence, God in whom we live and move and have our being, knowing that God's will for us is always our highest good. So let's end today's message with what I call a perfect affirmation written by Doug Bodorf, and it's on the screen. And so I'm going to ask you to say it with me. The guidance I now seek is established in my life. I experience the peace of freedom, knowing I am now being guided to the highest possible outworking of the situation, and I am grateful. So let's take those thoughts now into a time of meditation. And as always, I invite you to be comfortable where you are seated, to allow your eyes to gently close, and to take in a deep, cleansing breath, remembering that it is the breath of God that infills every cell in your body. The presence of God that is your very life. That presence that expresses in and through and as you. And so as you continue to breathe and focus on your breathing, I invite you to let my words be your words. Spirit of love and light, as I still myself in this moment, I await. I await your voice. I await the experience of your presence within me. I open myself to your guidance. I allow myself to know that wherever you are, in every situation, wherever I am, your presence is there. How wonderful to know that when I am in a quandary, your presence within me allows me to know the best possible way to decide on this situation. I give thanks for your presence within me. I envision you moving in and through and around every cell in my body, lighting a fire around my heart that glows with love and joy and peace, that allows every decision that I make to come from my heart, to come from love, to come from gratitude and wisdom that is mine through your presence within me. Your presence within me is my eternal guide, my eternal knowing, my eternal intuition. I think of the many times in which that intuition has seemingly come from nowhere, and yet I know it's not from nowhere. I know it's from your presence within me. It just seems like it's out of the blue, out of nowhere. And yet I am grateful grateful for that intuitive knowing of what is mine to do in any situation. And so now I allow myself to just spend a few moments continuing to breathe, recognizing your presence within me in a few moments of silence. And now as we bring our awareness back to this time and this place, we remember that we can always turn within, knowing that the divine presence will lead us, will guide us, and we are God's beloved. And so it is, and so we let it be. Amen and amen.
If you are here for the first time, you have received a packet of information about Unity and about our church. or you will. Please know we welcome and bless you. We invite you to join us for coffee and snacks and conversation in the fellowship hall after the service. Please fill out the form on the back of the envelope and give it to Reverend Margot. This is the time in our service when we have an opportunity to give back to the work of Spirit through our offerings and our tithes. We give in love and gratitude for our own prosperity in its many forms, which come to us through God, our instant, constant, and abundant source. If today is your first visit, we would like to honor and acknowledge that you are a blessing to us, and that your presence here today is your gift to this ministry. You are not expected to participate in the offering. Will the ushers please come forward? I invite you to hold your offerings in your hand as we say our offertory blessing together. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all of the good I am and have, all of the good I give and receive, and I am grateful.
forward again so we might bless these offerings. It's the first time my microphone has ever fallen off, but it just did.
Going to pieces.
I know.
All right.
All right. Well, let's just take a moment to look around this circle at all of these beautiful faces, knowing each one is an expression of God's divine presence, God's divine love. Shall we say our prosperity affirmation together? This is on the screen. We affirm the continued growth and prosperity of Unity Spiritual Center of Waco, and we are grateful. And our prayer for protection, the light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. Wherever I am, God is, and all is well. So we leave here this morning knowing that all the decisions we need to make are guided by the presence of God within. Let the church say amen. Amen.